I know it sounds crazy, but it was so real.
I was up all night with my own dreams. Now you want to take up my day with yours?
No, just listen. I was back at Pharaoh's palace in a garden of grapes that had 3 old vines. A tear fell from my eye, and the vines drank it in. They became so thick with grapes that I squeezed them into a cup and served it to Pharaoh.
That is quite a dream.
I know what your dream means.
You do? How could you?
The 3 vines signify 3 days. In 3 days, Pharaoh will bring you back to the palace. A free man.
If only it were true.
It is true. And when you're free, tell Pharaoh about my gift. Please, promise me.
Some gift. To make up fairy tales and give hope to the foolish.
Maybe he's not making it up.
All right, then. Here's one I've had every night for the last week. I'm taking 3 baskets of bread to Pharaoh, one on top of the other, when the baskets fall. I go to pick up the bread, and suddenly a swarm of birds come out of nowhere and attack me. They keep pecking at me in the face and the eyes. What does it mean?
I don't know.
Yes, you do. Tell me. Tell me!
The 3 baskets also signify 3 days. In 3 days, Pharaoh will behead you, and birds will feed on your flesh.
What?
You're lying! You're lying!
Stop it! No! Don't pay any attention to him. We're not going anywhere.
Take him.
Get up! You knew. You knew! It's not a gift! It's a curse!
Pharaoh has summoned you to the palace.
Why? What did I do?
Let's go.
It's gonna be all right, you'll see. Tell Pharaoh about me.
I will.
Don't forget me!
Prison was a great big hole in the ground, a dungeon. The worst thing about prison, it wasn't the heat, though it was like being baked in an oven during the day. It wasn't the cold, though it was like being trapped in a freezer at night. It wasn't even the flies or the spiders or the rats that nibbled your toenails while you were sleeping. Nope, the worst thing was the smell. It was like the smell of a public toilet at a fairground on a hot day, sickly, sweet and stinging. It clung to your clothes, it got in your hair, it followed you around. Joseph felt so alone. Did anyone remember him? His brothers? They were glad to be rid of him. His mother? She was dead. And his father too, for all he knew. No one knew he was there, no one who cared. He was completely alone, forsaken, forlorn, forgotten, in a smelly hole in the ground. Joseph was put in charge of the prisoners. The first thing he did was to organise work parties, sweeping and scrubbing, but they couldn't shift the smell. It hid in the walls and oozed back out and grabbed them when they thought they'd finished. Sometime later, 2 VIPs, that's very important prisoners, arrived. Pharaoh's chief cupbearer and his chief baker. These had been powerful men who worked closely with Pharaoh. They could whisper in his ear, and they knew everything that happened in the palace and throughout the land. They may have fallen out of favour with Pharaoh for a little while, but if he changed his mind and gave them back their jobs, they could make life very unpleasant for anyone who upset them. They had to be looked after very carefully, and the task was given to Joseph. So you can imagine how alarmed Joseph was when he got up one morning and found both of them looking glum and miserable and worried. Nervously he asked them, "Why so sad today?" We've both had dreams, vivid dreams, and there's no soothsayer, wise man, witch doctor here to tell us what they mean. Joseph, don't interpretations belong to God? Tell me your dreams. Pharaoh's chief baker became very excited and full of hope as he heard Joseph interpret the cupbearer's dream, that he would soon be restored to his position at Pharaoh's side. He eagerly told Joseph his dream, but Joseph did not have to say anything. The chief baker could see it in Joseph's face. There would be no happy ending to his story. Before they were lifted out of prison to appear before Pharaoh, Joseph begged the chief cupbearer, "When all goes well with you, remember me. Remember how I showed you kindness and cared for you. Tell Pharaoh about me and get me out of this dungeon." The chief cupbearer smiled and nodded and went on his way. For a while Joseph was full of hope that he was not forgotten. But as hours turned to days and days turned to weeks, it became clear the chief cupbearer had not remembered him. He had forgotten Joseph. Joseph felt so alone, forsaken, forlorn, forgotten in that smelly hole in the ground. Of course, Joseph had not been forgotten. The Bible tells us again and again the Lord was with Joseph. The Lord was with Joseph. Joseph was more than remembered by God. God was right there beside Joseph all the time. And in the next few weeks we will discover how Joseph's being in prison was all part of God's master plan for rescuing Joseph's family. Now, I'm sure there are times when you feel that nobody cares about you, that everyone has forgotten you, just like Joseph. Maybe when friends at school are mean to you and leave you out of their games, or when you have a fight with your brother or sister and mum and dad seem to take their side against you. Well, remember this, just like Joseph, God is right there beside you all the time. And what's happening to you is all part of his plan. He promises in the Bible that he will never leave you or forsake you. He will always be with you, and no one can snatch you out of his hand.